everybody, this is Anthony Kaoli, and I am going to go over the status of municipal services and spending in Quinhagak, Alaska. I just put some numbers together. I just got back from Quinhagak. It's April 15th, 2015, and we had a joint session with the city and Native Village of Quinhagak. And what I did was I went through basically the budgets over the last several years for the city of Quinhagak. One of the challenges that we're faced with is we're trying to find ways to fund and subsidize the municipal services, and in particular, a real issue is the washateria, which, throughout rural Alaska, really none of the washaterias have ever they never break even. They're pretty much always money losers. But the way that we dealt with that over the years in Quinhagak was we had the city and the tribe working together, which goes back to 1996 and the MOA, when we started the process of merging the operations of the city and the tribe over the years to cut down on the cost of administration and free up more dollars for the services. So that's what I'm going to go over. I'm just going to go over some stats and kind of give a status check of where things are right now. I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully this works. Okay, so status of municipal services and spending in Quinhagak, Alaska. Okay, so right now, what we have is we have basically the services and the facilities in Quinhagak completely split up. We had all the services and facilities under one umbrella under the merger, which streamlined things as far as managing those facilities. With, for example, one public works director that would oversee all the facilities in the community. Around 2012, 11 or 12, basically there was a move to start divvying up and breaking out the services. The city basically broke away from the tribe in terms of the merger and started their own administration again, and their own bookkeeping, and then in 2013 we went from a completely merged operation to just the city operating separately, the tribe operating separately, and an attempt to divvy up facilities and services. And that's where we're at right now. Is the 2013 MOA attempted to identify who was responsible for what services and which buildings, and so I'll go on to the next slide. So somewhat predictably, when we look at the administrative costs, the whole intent of merging the city and the tribe, going back to 1996, was to not have to pay for two administrations in the community. And now, when the city broke out, what basically happened is that the city had to ramp up their administrative operations and build up their own administration, and consequently those costs went up. So in 2010, when things were still merged, the city's overall administrative spending was less than 100,000. 2011, it jumped up to almost 150. 2012, about 275 or so. Same in 2013. In 2014, it went up, and then the proposed budget for 2015, which hasn't been approved yet, basically has a city administrative and council costs the highest that they've ever been, over 300,000. So in terms of the city administration as a percent of the total city budget, when we were fully merged and the city was running its funds through the native village of Quinhagak in 2010, the city administration basically was 24% of their overall total budget. In 2011, it went up to 41%. And when the city broke out of the merger in 2012, the administrative costs went up to, well, they doubled up to 83%, and they've hovered at that rate since, around 75 to 80%. 2014, last fiscal year, was 89%. And since the percent of money being spent on administration was so high, the available dollars for municipal services, not surprisingly, had to be reduced. So if you look back at 2010, when we had the full merger, the city was budgeting $265,000 a year towards municipal services, and that was a combination of public safety, water, sewer, washateria, street lights, VPSO, search and rescue. And then as the city started to break out, especially in 2012, the amount of dollars allocated for municipal services plummeted and has been under 100,000 since. It's gone up. The proposed budget in 2015 actually is more than the previous years, but it's still a fraction of the total municipal budget. And that brings us to the issue of the washateria, which, there's a number of things going on right now. The good thing is a lot of a good portion and percentage of the community is served by water and sewer. So more people have access to washers now. Fewer people are using the washateria. In 2010, under the full merger, the city was subsidizing the washateria almost 100,000. And then pretty much every year that subsidy has gone down. Even though today the need is still there for the washateria, not everybody has piped water and sewer in Quinhagak. Basically in 2014, all the city subsidies for the washateria stopped. Although there was a provision in the 2013 MOA for a modest subsidy from the city of 9,000 plus some prorated share of the utilities for the city offices being in the washateria. So the situation right now is the native village of Quinhagak, which owns the building, and which is a very highly inefficient building, which the energy audits just documented, simply can't afford it. The only discretionary revenue that's coming into the tribe, other than the grants, is some of the gaming money, which is the net is less than 100,000 a year. So it's not enough to cover the washateria and all the other services. So you couple that with the fact that the city has basically stopped subsidizing the washateria, led to the decision to close it temporarily, also because of the fuel, concern about the fuel there not being sufficient fuel. But really it's an economic drain, always has been. And we're at a point now where it's kind of a precarious situation because it will never really break even now because there's not enough users, and a lot of the equipment is really in need of replacement to something more energy efficient. So this is just kind of a little bit of the historical data that I thought might be helpful as we look to coming to a solution, and in terms of what are the priorities in the community. Bottom line, from where I sit, there are substantial resources in Quinhagak right now. The city budget alone, I think over 400,000, which is the largest budget in as far as I can recall. So it's stable now, although we're looking at some serious cuts to revenue sharing in the very near future, which we need to start planning for. And that was a real concern on everybody's minds. So anyway, I hope this is helpful to kind of lay out a little bit of the historical costs, and hope that will help the debate about what we do with the Wasatch area and what we're going to do about sustaining the municipal services in Quinhagak, especially with the current division of the services and facilities. All right, Guyana, thanks everybody. Bye. Take care.